Hi, hi. Good morning. Well, good night, I mean. Hi, everybody. Good evening. And thank you so much for joining me today on my reading session. Thank you, thank you. How's everybody doing today? Are you winding down? Or maybe you're waking up. Either way, thank you so much for joining. Yeah, so today has been a considerably better start. Therefore, things will finish nicely too. I can just tell. Yeah, after all, today I didn't make anybody wait for an hour. How are you this quiet night? Hi, Reverse Colin. I'm doing really well. Yeah, tonight is finding me really well. Before stream, I decided to change up the background. Snowy nighttime. Yeah, it was a little bit of an easy fix, but I wanted to have some more snow. A lot of the snow here melted, but more snow might come around. Yeah, so right now I'm just settling in a bit to stream. This is the last stream day of this week. And I might have schedule up tomorrow, or maybe even up later today after stream. I'm quite satisfied that there was 3 days of streaming out of the 4. One of the days didn't work because of the snow. There was just too much to switch around. Oh, earlier today when I was browsing X, I saw a post from ᶜ壤ᵃ and she was talking about the world trees. I watched that for a little bit. And supposedly the world trees are within the Book of Enoch, so I'm not so sure if we have gotten to that part. I don't think we have through my reading. Still, the concept of the world trees is one of the big reasons why I wanted to look into the Book of Enoch. Yeah, that concept is very fascinating. Oh, I still have VTube Studio Chan with me. See, it's so hard. It's so hard to let her go. I can let her go. Oh, bye-bye, VTube Chan. Don't worry, she'll come back. Right into screen. Oh, hi. Welcome back, VTube Chan. Yeah, I just gotta remember to get that full version. I think there's going to be this stream and one more stream before I finish the Complete Book of Enoch, translated by J. Winters. So I have something prepared afterward though, some more reading materials. And it was a very good recommendation, in fact. Let's see, for my stream beverage I have plain water. I'm really tempted to have a Celsius, but that's an energy drink. Yeah, I'm really tempted to have one, but I won't. Yeah, just water right now. It'll taste even better tomorrow when I get around to it, right? Does anybody have a preferred time when they like to have their energy drinks? Do you like it in the morning? For lunch? Maybe in the middle of the day? For myself, I usually like an energy drink in the middle of the day. Or if I know I'm going to work out. Yeah, if I'm going to work out very soon. Maybe having an energy drink an hour before. Yeah, sometimes I do that. Yeah, I personally find that energy drinks are kind of their own culture. That's a bit silly to say, but you know, we as individuals, we reach for something to drink. And once we find something that we like, we usually stick to it. Yeah, currently Celsius drinks are what I'm into. Yeah, well, that was a bit of a nice moment to settle in and yap, so thank you. I just needed to get out some of the pre-jitters, to be honest. And now I will move on over to our reading material. Okay, yeah, I was just making sure everything was aligned for the moment. During this reading, I do not have background music, so Yeah, but if anybody does want background music during this reading, just chime in, and I don't mind accommodating. But for my own choice for now, I just like to have the reading right there, front and center. So thank you for anybody who is joining me today. Please call me Schmal or Sister Schmal. I am a VTuber, and I normally play Blue Archive. However, when I'm not, I like to read things and learn about different topics, such as the Book of Enoch. The place that I left off on is the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls. This chart showing a listing of what scrolls were found in the Qumran caves is important to note in regards to the texts found therein, as they include an associated body of work that is one and the same. Parts of the Book of Giants were found regarding Enoch in the caves as well. It would appear that whoever the scribe or group of people who stored away these scrolls intended them for safekeeping, as they represent a body of knowledge that has, curiously enough, been largely fought since their inception. When a researcher gets to a certain point, they tend to realize that some information and studies surpass the understanding of the intellect alone, but rather sequesters the heart to comprehend such mysteries of which the mind is unwilling. Okay, and here we have a chart titled Designation, Scripture, Commentaries, Sectarian, Collections, Biblical Supplements. Down here, the Book of Enoch is highlighted. So this would imply that it is part of the Dead Sea Scrolls. And there is a lot of scrolls. The Book of Giants. The Book of the Giants was published in not less than 6 or 7 languages. From the original Syriac, the Greek and Middle Persian versions were made. The Sogdian edition was probably derived from the Middle Persian, the Ugar from the Sogdian. There is no trace of a Parthian text. The book may have existed in Coptic. The presence of names such as Sam and Nariman in the Arabic version proves that it had been translated from the Middle Persian. To the few surviving fragments, I have added 2 excerpts, the more important of which probably derives from a Syriac epitome of the book. Naturally, Manchurin authors quoted the book frequently, but there is only one direct citation by a non-Manchulian writer, with the exception of texts. Oh, all the passages referring to the Book of the Giants go back to Syriac writings. They are therefore to be treated as quotations from the Syriac edition. The Parthian text N is not the product of a Parthian writer who might have employed a Parthian version of the book, but was translated from a Syriac treatise whose author cited the Syriac text. In their journey across Central Asia, the stories of the Book of the Giants were influenced by local traditions. Thus, the translation of Oya as Sam had in its train the introduction of myths appertaining to that Iranian hero. This explains the immortality of Sam according to texts. I, the country of Aryan Vizan, Aryania Vaja in text G, is a similar innovation. The Cogman Mountains in text B may reflect the Mount Hermon, the progeny of the fallen angels was confined in 36 towns, owing to the introduction of the Mount Sumeru. This number was changed in Sagdindayana to 32. The heaven of Indra is situated between the 4 peaks of the Meru and consists of 32 cities of Devas. Manuscript mapping key. Okay. That is very helpful. Very thorough to include these mapping keys. Now that makes sense. All of that between the reading. In the translation, parentheses are employed for explanatory remarks. Bolded texts of the translation fragments are of great importance in correlation with the books of Enoch. Note: the text from multiple of these manuscripts is badly damaged, but between the various versions of the book in different languages, we have a general picture of what the Book of Giants is discussing, if the book's very title isn't enough for the reader alone. Logical estimates according to the historical texts which tell of these giants living seem to be around 3500 BC, and the manuscripts being copied several times throughout the ages. Considering any scribe would find copying an epic like this more than just a great job, they probably did it for free, which explains why so many manuscripts exist of the book. Are more than likely around 3,000 years old. Translation to English. Introduction. Hard arrow, bow, he that, Sam said, blessed be, had seen this, he would not have died. Then Samzad said to Sam, his all that Mahaway is spoilet. Thereupon he said to, we are until, and that are in the fiery hell, as my father vtuber was. Samzad said, it is true what he says. He says one of thousands of giants. For one of thousands. Sam thereupon began. Mahaway, too, in many places, until to that place he might escape. And vtuber, Hobabis, a giant, robbed Ar, a mortal man, of Naxtag, his wife. Thereupon the giants began to kill each other and to abduct their wives. The creatures too began to kill each other. Sam before the sun, one hand in the air, the other. Whatever he obtained to his brother, imprisoned over Taxtag. To the angels from heaven, Taxtag to, Taxtag through, or was thrown into the water. Finally, in his sleep, Taxtag saw 3 signs, one portending, one woe and flight, and one annihilation. ᶜᵉᵈᶦᵗः saw a garden full of trees in rows. 200 came out, the trees. Enoch the apostle gave a message to the demons and their children. To you not peace. The judgment on you is that you shall be bound for the sins you have committed. You shall see the destruction of your children, ruling for 120 years. 50 wild ass, ibex, ram, goat, gazelle, oryx, of each 200 a pair. The other wild beasts, birds and animals, and their wine shall be 6,000 jugs. Irritation of water, and their oil shall be father nuptials, until the completion of his in fighting. 60, and in the nests, Oya and Aya. He said to his brother, get up, and we will take what our father has ordered us to. The pledge we have given, battle. And the giants fought them together. 67. Not the of the lion, but the on his, not the of the rainbow, but the bow firm, not the sharpness of the blade, but the strength of the ox, not the eagle, but his wings, not the gold, but the brass that hammers it, not the proud, but the diadem on his head, not the splendid cypress, but the giants of the mountain. Not he that engages in quarrels, but he that is true to his speech. Not the evil fruit, but the poison in it. Not they that are placed in the skies, but the God of all worlds. Not the servant is proud, but the Lord that is above him. Not one that is sent, but the man that sent him. Thereupon ᶜᵉᵈᵦᵗ said, and in another place I saw those that were weeping for the ruin that had befallen them, and whose cries and laments rose up to heaven. And also I saw another place where there were tyrants and rulers in great number, who had lived in sin and evil deeds. When, note here that this passage is in the style of Enoch and is likely one of the many books Enoch gave to Methuselah to preserve even unto future generations. Many men and women were killed, 400,000 righteous with fire, naphtha and brimstone, and the angels veiled, or covered, or protected, moved out of sight. Enoch. ᶜḷᵃ and ravished them. They chose beautiful women and demanded them in marriage. Sordid, all carried off. Severally, they were all subjected to tasks and services, and they from each city, and were ordered to serve the Messenians, to prepare the Cusians to sweep, and water the Persians too, on the 5 elements. Slain, righteous, good deeds, elements. The crown, the diadem, the garland, and the garment of light. The 7 demons, like a blacksmith who binds or shuts, fastens, and looses, or opens, detaches, who from the seeds of and serves the king, offends when weeping with mercy. Hand the pious gave presents. Some buried the idols. The Jews did good and evil. Some make their God half demon, half God, killing the 7 demons. I. Various colors that buy and bile, if from the 5 elements, as if a means not to die. They fill themselves with food and drink. Their garment is this corpse, and not firm. Its ground is not firm, like imprisoned in this corpse, in bones, nerves, veins, and skin, and entered herself into it. Then he cries out over sun and moon, the just gods, 2 flames, over the elements, the trees and the animals. But God in each epoch sends apostles. Buddha, Christ, evil intentioned from where he came. The misguided recognize the 5 elements. Trees, the 5 kinds of animals. One of the hearers, we receive from Mani the Lord the 5 commandments to the 3 seals, living profession and wisdom moon. Rest from the power, own, and keep measured the mixture, trees and wells in 2, water and fruit, milk. He should not offend his brother, the wise, who like unto juniper, much profit, like a farmer, who sows seed in many. The hearer who knowledge is like unto a man that threw into milk. It became hard, not the part that ruined. At first heavy, like first is honored might shrine 6 days. The hearer who gives alms to the elect is like unto a poor man that presents his daughter to the king. He reaches great honor in the body of the elect. The alms is purified in the same manner as that by fire and wind. Beautiful clothes on a clean body turn witness, fruit, tree, like firewood, like grain, radiance. The hearer in the alms within the church are like unto a ship on the sea, the towing line in the hand of the tower on shore. The sailor is on board the ship. The sea is the world, the ship, the tower line is the wisdom. The hearer is like unto the branch of a fruitless tree, fruitless, and the hearer's fruit, pious deeds. The elect, the hearer, the vomit are like unto 3 brothers, to whom some were left by their father a piece of land, seed. They become partners, they reap, and the hearer like an image of the king cast of gold. The king gave presents. The hearer that copies a book is like unto a sick man that gave his to a man. The hearer that gives his daughter to the church is like pledge, who gave his son to learn, to father pledge. Here again the hearer is like stumble, is purified to the soul from the church, is like unto the wife of the soldier, who infantries one shoe, who however with a denarius was. The wind tore out one, he was abashed from the ground. Said the hearer that makes one is like unto a compassionate mother, who had 7 sons. The enemy killed all. The hearer that piety a well, one on the shore of the sea, one in the boat. He that is on shore tows him that is, he that is in the boat see, upwards like a pearl diadem. Church like unto a man that fruits and flowers when they praise, fruitful tree that brought a piece of land. On that piece of land there was a well, and in that well a bag full of drachmas. The king was filled with wonder, share, pledge, numerous, hearer, like unto a garment, like to the master, like in a blacksmith, the goldsmith, to honor the blacksmith, to 1, 2. Ugar. Order of pages according to Lagok. Bai Bang seems to support Lagok's opinion. Fire was going to come out, and I saw that the sun was at the point of rising, and that his center without increasing above was going to start rolling. Then came a voice from the air above, calling me. It spoke thus, O son of vtuber, your affairs are lamentable. More than this, you shall not see. Do not die now prematurely, but turn quickly back from here. And again, besides this voice, I heard the voice of Enoch, the apostle from the south, without, however, seeing him at all, speaking my name very livingly. He called, and downwards from then, for the closed door of the sun will open, the sun's light and heat will descend and set your wings all alight. You will burn and die, said he. Having heard these words, I beat my wings and quickly flew down from the air. I looked back. Dawn had, with the light of the sun, it had come to rise over the Kongman mountains. And again a voice came from above, bringing the command of Enoch. The apostle said, I call you vtuber. I know his direction. You, now quickly, people also. Sogdion. Small scrap from the center of a page. Order of pages uncertain. I shall see. Thereupon now Sam the giant was very angry and laid hands on Mawaha the giant with the intention I shall and kill you then the other giants. Do not be afraid, for Sam the giant will want to kill you, but I shall not let him. I myself shall damage. Thereupon Mawaha the giant was satisfied. Middle Persian. Outside in the left, breathe the dream we have seen. Thereupon Enoch does, and the trees that come out, those are the egregoroi, and the giants that come out of the women, and over pulled out over. Sogdian. When they saw the apostle, before the apostle, those demons that were timid were very, very glad at seeing the apostle. All of them assembled before him. Also, all those were tyrants and criminals. They were worried and much afraid then. Not to, thereupon, those powerful demons spoke thus to the pious apostle. If by us any further sin will not be committed, my lord, why? You have an weighty injunction. Middle Persian. 6 fragmentary columns from the middle of a page. Order of columns uncertain. Poverty. Those who harass the happiness of the righteous, on that account they shall fall into eternal ruin and distress, into that fire, the mother of all conflagrations, and the foundation of all ruined tyrants. And when these sinful, misbegotten sons of ruin in those crevices, and you have not been better. In error you thought you would this false power eternally. You all this iniquity. You that called to us with the voice of falsehood. Neither did we reveal ourselves on your account, so that you could see us, nor thus. Ourselves through the praise and greatness, not to us, given to you, but sinners is visible, where out of this fire your soul will be prepared for the transfer to eternal ruin. And as for you, sinful, misbegotten sons of the wrathful self, confounders of the true words of the Holy One, disturbers of the actions of good deed, aggressors upon piety of the living, who there and on brilliant wings they shall fly and soar further outside and above that fire, and shall gaze into its depth and height. And those righteous that will stand around it, outside and above, they themselves shall have power over that great fire and everything in it, blaze, souls that they are pure and stronger than the great fire of ruin that sets the worlds ablaze. They shall stand around, outside and above, and splendor shall shine over them. Further outside and above it they shall fly after those souls that may try to escape from the fire in that. Sogdian, 2 folios, only one pub here. The other contains discourse on the Nephilim demons. The 4 angels with the 200, presumably this is where Enoch is addressing the 200 fallen angel leaders who petitioned him to take their case to God. It also coincides with the text later on, revealing that 4 angels imprisoned multiple demons, but precisely how many is not specified. They took and imprisoned all the helpers that were in the heavens, and the angels themselves descended from the heaven to the earth. And when the 200 demons saw those angels, they were much afraid and worried. They assumed the shape of men and hid themselves. Thereupon the angels forcibly removed the men from the demons, laid them aside, and put watchers over them. The giants were sons with each other in bodily union with each other's self, and the that had been born to them. They forcibly removed them from the demons, and they led one half of them eastwards, and the other half westwards. On the skirts of 4 huge mountains, towards the foot of the ᶜ�ᵉᵈᶦᵗः mountain, into 32 towns, which the living spirit had prepared for them in the beginning. And one calls that place ᶜ壤ᵈᶦᵗः, and those men are or were in the first arts and crafts. They made the angels, and to the demons they went to fight, and those 200 demons fought a hard battle with the 4 angels until the angels used fire, naphtha, and brimstone. Excerpts. Excuse me, I took a sip of water. Very refreshing. content similar to the ᶜ壤ᵈᶦᵗः, only about a quarter here. The following chapter has a headline. Here begins Sansai's question the world. And again, Sansai asked the light apostle, this world where mankind lives, why does one call it birth-death? And what they had seen in the heavens among the gods, and also what they had seen in hell, their native land, and furthermore, what they had seen on earth, all that they began to teach to the men. To Samizid, 2 sons were born by one of them named Oya, and in Sogdian he is called Sam the Giant. And again a second son was born to him. He named him Aya. Its Sogdian equivalent is Patsam. As for the remaining giants, they were born to the other demons and Yaksas. The coming of the 200 demons. Small fragment. Manliness in powerful tyranny, he shall not die. The giant Sam and his brother will live eternally, for in the whole world in power and strength and in quotations and allusions. And in the coming of the 200 demons, there are two paths, the hurting speech and the hard labor. These belong or lead to hell. Before they were, and all the fulfilled their tasks lawfully, now they become excited and irritated for the following reason, namely, the 200 demons came down to the sphere from the high heaven, and in the world they became excited and irritated, for their lifelines and the connections of their few nomadic veins are joined to the sphere. Completed the exposition of the three worlds. Here begins the coming of Jesus and the religion to Adam and Sittil, ᶜ壤ᵉᵈᶦᵗः. Earthquake and malice happened in the watchpost of the great king of honor, namely the egregores, who arose at the time when they were, and there descended those who were sent to confound them. Now attend and behold how the great king of honor, who is Evioli, is in the third heaven. He is with a wrath and a rebellion. When malice and wrath arose in his camp, namely the egregores of heaven, who in his watch district rebelled and descended to the earth. They did all deeds of malice. They revealed the arts in the world and the mysteries of heaven to men. Rebellion and ruin came on the earth. Fragment of a treatise entitled Commentary on Manes Opus, and the story about the great fire, like unto the way in which the fire with powerful wrath swallows this world and enjoys it, like unto the way in which this fire that is in the body swallows the exterior fire that is, in fruit and food, and enjoys it. Again, like unto the story in which two brothers who found a treasure and a pursuer lacerated each other, and they died. Like unto the fight in which Oya, Leviathan, and Raphael lacerated each other, and they vanished. Like unto the story in which a lion cub, a calf in a wood, and a fox lacerated each other. Thus the great fire swallows both of the fires. Another copy of his text. The Book of the Giants by Mani of Babylon is filled with stories about these giants, amongst whom Sam and Nariman. On account of the malice and rebellion that had arisen in the watchpost of the great king of honor, namely the egregori who formed the heavens, had descended to the earth. On their account, the four angels received their orders. They bound the egregori with eternal fetters in the prison of the dark. Their sons were destroyed upon the earth. The righteous who were burnt in the fire, they endured. This multitude that were wiped out 4,000. Enoch also the sage, the transgressors being. 400,000 righteous were slain by the giants, and many more, the years of Enoch. Before the egregoro rebelled and descended from heaven, a prison had been built for them in the depth of the earth beneath the mountains. Before the sons of the giants were born, who knew not righteousness and piety among themselves, 36 towns had been prepared and erected, so that the sons of the giants should live in them, that they come to beget, who live 1,000 years. Mere image distributed the men, and Enoch was veiled, moved out of sight. They took afterwards with donkey cords, slaves, and waterless trees. Then the archangels Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Israel, and imprisoned the demons, and one of them 7 and 12, possibly a numerical indication as to how many demons the archangels imprisoned. 3,280, the beginning of King Vista. In the palace he flamed forth. And at night, then to the broken gate, men, physicians, merchants, farmers at sea, armored he came. From the end of Ahim, gifts, a peaceful sovereign, King Vistap, in Aryan Waisan Wahman and Zahrael, the sovereign's queen. Kudos receive the faith, the prince. They have secured a place in the heavenly hall, and quite ood forever and ever. Small fragment, order of pages uncertain. Because the house of the gods eternal joy and good, For so it is said at that time, ᶜᵁ was in the world, and at the time of the new moon, the blessed denizens of the world all assembled. All they offered 5 garlands in homage, and ᶜᵁ accepted those garlands, and those that in great kingship was his, and on them and acclamations, and from that pious he placed the garlands on his head, the denizens of the world. We reconstructed summary of the Book of Giants. Chapter 1. The Watchers are grieved over the sins of mankind, and petition God to let them descend to the earth to teach the sons of men righteousness and to rebuke them. God grants their petition. Azazel is sent to prepare the way for the Watchers. Azazel prepares the way, and the Watchers descend, and they began to teach them righteousness and justice. Enoch is chosen by the Watchers to serve as a mediator between men and the Watchers. In chapter 2, the daughters of men lust after the attractive Watchers and seduce them. Azazel, with Shimhazah's help, instigates the fall of the 200 Watchers and their followers. The Watchers fall from their glorious nature and become bound to fleshly bodies as a consequence of their joining sexually to flesh. They began to reveal to their wives heavenly and earthly secrets. In chapter 3, the Watchers have their own families with humans and also with animals, and those that were defiled by them give birth to giants. These giants begin to grow to massive sizes and become full of greed and corruption. They kill many dragons, and the sons of Cain worship them for protecting them. The children of Cain are no longer able to sustain the giants with their offerings of vegetables and grain, so the giants turn on them and kill them and begin to eat them. The giants develop a taste for blood and begin eating any moving thing, including each other. The Watchers teach some of the secrets they were appointed over to keep from the sons of men. The giants imitate the sins of their fathers and take for themselves wives and animal mates, and they beget ᶜᵁ and Hihi. God, seeing all this wickedness, sends Enoch to declare to Shemhazah and the fallen Watchers that they will soon be punished for causing the earth to be corrupted. In chapter 4, Enoch is sent by the righteous Watchers to rebuke the fallen Watchers and to declare to them their doom. He comes to Azazel first and condemns him as the principal sinner amongst the fallen Watchers. He then summons Mahaway to him and has him gather all the Watchers for his message. Enoch enters the assembly of the fallen Watchers and gives them the message of doom. They weep and lament and beg Enoch to present to God their petition for mercy and a second chance, to restore them to their former glory, and that their sons might have eternal life. They required a messenger to talk to God, because God had since stopped talking to them after their transgression. Enoch hears their case and tells them he will talk to God on their behalf. Chapter 5. In Chapter 5, Enoch, having written the petition of the fallen watchers and discussing it with God, receives a vision from God as a response. And Enoch writes the vision for the fallen watchers in a book and gives the book to them. Enoch declares to them they will not be forgiven, and describes for them his ascent into the presence of God, where he was given a message for them. In Chapter 6, Enoch received from God an answer for the fallen watchers. He is told to tell them why they were not given permission to have sex and what their punishment is because of it. And he foretells unto them the miserable doom and fate of the offspring of the fallen watchers, and foretells to them that they will become evil spirits and will not have eternal life, but that their years will be no more than 500. After hearing this, the fallen watchers and their giant sons take up stones to throw at Enoch, but the holy watchers shield Enoch from their deadly blows and lift Enoch up into the heavens to escape their earthly wrath against Enoch the messenger. This is perhaps the first time that anyone ever attempted to kill the messenger. In Chapter 7, Hobabesh kidnaps another giant's wife and starts a war amongst the giants. When the war was ending, one of Oya's companions was killed by Mahaway. Oya mourns with his father Shemhazah about his friend, and they curse Mahaway. Mahaway defends himself, appealing to the words of his father Barakel as justification. Oya gets angry and attempts to kill Mahaway, but Gilgamesh and the other giants prevent Oya from doing so, and they ward off Oya's murderous intentions. This is where we learn about Gilgamesh slaying dragons or dinosaurs and being a hero for the normal-sized men of that time. In Chapter 8, Gilgamesh has a dream, but interprets it as indicating the giants will not be punished. The giants celebrate, but aren't entirely convinced, and subsequent to this, Oya and Haya have dreams of their own. They seek the interpretation of the dreams, but none of the giants can declare to them what the meaning of their dreams are. So the giants have Mahaway go to Enoch in order to learn from him the meaning of the dreams, and to learn what the fate of the giants will be. Mahaway flies to Enoch, and Enoch greets Mahaway, and Mahaway explains why he came, and Enoch proceeds to give Mahaway the answer, and he writes it down in a tablet, and gives a second tablet as well to Mahaway intended for Shemhazah and the Watchers, and he sends Mahaway back to the giants with the two tablets. In chapter 9, Mahaway flies back to the giants with 2 tablets, and Mahaway tells them of his journey to Enoch and of Enoch saving his life, and tells him that Enoch had given him 2 tablets and revealed everything they had wanted to know from him. The first tablet is read. The giants discuss the contents of the first tablet after it is finished being read, and realize they are doomed, and they lament over their miserable fate. They then have the second tablet read. Enoch tells ᶜŻ that he and the other fallen watchers will soon be bound, but that the giants should repent and pray, for they still have a chance to benefit from reformation of their lives. In chapter 10, ᶜŻ urges his 2 sons of Oya and Haya to reform their lives in the hopes that they will be yet given mercy. Oya and Haya listen to the advice of ᶜŻ and attempt to convince the giants to reform themselves, teaching them through proverbs where true success is found. The giants seek to reform their lives. Enoch is sent to declare to the watchers that with 120 years they would all be bound in a dark prison of punishment for their sins, and that their sons would all be destroyed from off the face of the earth. Noah begins to build the ark. Around this time, only Azazel is bound. Chapter 11. The giants lament over Azazel being bound, and then they and the watchers, seeing that they were not bound or destroyed, vaunted themselves. When this happened, Gabriel the archangel was sent to incite the giants to commit civil war against themselves and their offspring, and they all began to kill each other. And the watchers beheld the destruction of their families. When the war of the giants ends with few survivors, all of the fallen watchers are subsequently bound by the angels into the dark prison of punishment. In chapter 12, Noah goes into the ark and the flood comes and begins to kill all life, but not all the giants are killed by the flood. In order to fix this, Yahweh sends the Leviathan, and the Leviathan begins to kill all the giants and their sons who survived. Oya alone survives the attacks of the Leviathan and kills the Leviathan. The archangel Raphael is sent by Yahweh in order to punish Oya for killing the Leviathan, and to finally restore the earth to purity. Oya is killed and bound in the dark prison of punishment with the fallen watchers. The flood being over, and the giants and their sons still remaining on the earth without bodies, become evil spirits and are given a law by an angel of Yahweh how they are to live if they want to avoid being sent to the dark prison of punishment that the watchers were sent to. And this explains how the Nephilim came to be on the earth after the flood. Evidence of giants. I think I'm going to take a quick break right there before reading into the evidence of giants. Ooh, goodness, this looks so fascinating. Wow. Okay, I'm not gonna spoil too much. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna go over to my main screen and kind of talk about what I read just now. Okay, here I am. Wow, that was so fascinating reading that. So, what it all comes down to is wanting a wife. The fallen angels, they got human wives. And it's said that the human women, seduced the angels. And that's what happened. And it also stated that the angels were really attractive as well. Though the fact that giants were born from that union is kind of startling. Yeah. And there is mention of Gilgamesh. I know that the tomb of Gilgamesh has been a topic lately. Specifically, a United States politician was caught asking about that. And with what I just read, the descendants of the fallen angels, the ones that aren't sent to that underworld prison, maybe it's getting to the point where they need to go down there. Because I don't think they're being good. Currently in this sphere, there has been a lot of talk about human sacrifice. And it's very horrible. In general, human sacrifice isn't good. Sometimes I joke about, finding people with like worthy hearts to sacrifice, because my ancestry comes from Mexico. However, when it comes down to it, human sacrifice and blood isn't a good way to go about things. Usually something will be taken advantage of. And I just find it so wrong how the civilization of Mexico was basically demolished because of that. And now here we are in the year 2026, and there is talk about sacrificing. It's horrible the way that some individuals are two-faced. And that's why some people think that these descendants of the fallen angels are just going back to consuming others. Something is going to be done about it. Hello, my beanie. Oh, hi, Jamals. Hi, Jamals. Welcome to stream. How are you doing? Right now, I am just taking a little break to yap about what I read and I was thinking of either taking a quick break before reading the rest. Yeah, but right now I'm just talking about what I read. Is the day treating you alright? Today is a late stream. Trying out late streams. So, that last part that I read with the summary was very helpful. Yeah. The mention of dragons and dinosaurs and the Leviathan is very fascinating. Though I wonder at what points it will talk about the world trees. Maybe I missed that part. I work and I watch you. Sorry I'm late. Oh, it's okay. I'm glad you're catching me in between whatever you're working on. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, this week has been ending pretty well. It's practically already Monday. And I am Sister Schmal here in a snowy forest today. It's snowing. In fact, it's still going to be winter on my side of the world for a little bit longer. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. All seasons have their purpose. Yep. I gotta make sure to not cover my mouth with the mic. Yeah, I was just looking at my model just now. Oh goodness, you know, I can't wait for my live 2D model. And I'm going to have a sister outfit. Yeah. I think I'm going to check my VGen if there's any updates. Probably not, because I think the illustrator takes a break on the weekend. Well, I think I'm going to take a quick look at the reading material again and kind of gauge where I might stop. Oh, there's a lot. Wow, Schmal reading about giants. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, well, I think for now I will take a little break and then I will come back. Okay, it'll be a short break. So don't worry, I'll be back. One moment. Hi, hi. Whoa. Sorry, that was a longer break than I thought. I committed to more soup than I intended. I'm not eating. Oh, that's good. To be honest, being up late it kind of makes me hungry. So I want to eat something. Oh well, maybe next time I'll hold in my appetite. I am fasting during Ramadan. Oh, that is nice that you are in observance of that, Jamal's. Yeah. You know, in fact, there is quite a significance to fasting. You know, learning about fasting is in quite a few religions. Yeah, you know, I'm not so knowledgeable about fasting, to be honest. I know it exists, but so far in my life nobody has told me to not eat, like, in front of me yet. So I guess I haven't done it. Yeah, not yet. Whew. Yeah, so I definitely want to stream for a little bit more. After having a thorough break, it's good to burn off some of that energy too. So, with the next section that I'm about to read, it's going to be evidence about giants. Now, these giants, they are the children of the, or they are the Nephilim. Yes, they are very specific. And moving on. Boop. I'm going to make sure everything is aligned. Okay, yeah, that will do. Alright, so thank you for anybody who is joining me today. This is a portion of the Complete Book of Enoch. And this is translated by J. Winters. So thank you, J. Winters. We are on page 148 of 193. So this reading is almost coming to a conclusion. Evidence of giants. Fossilized remains of giant human skeletons have been found all around the world. Ranging in size, many of them have been recovered with giant weapons, armor, and strange artifacts dubbed OO parts, out-of-place artifacts. The current worldview model for humanity doesn't support the existence of a giant human race according to evolution. These enormous ancient human beings were worshipped throughout various world religions, all of which tell of many of them slaying dragons. It is important to note that the term dragon was replaced by the word dinosaur in 1871 by Sir Edward Owen. Hence, any reference in ancient literature to dragons is a reference to dinosaurs according to the ontology of the word change associations involved. The following is a brief report of recovered giant fossilized human remains, of which most end up in private collections of the elite of society, save a few who have found their way to museums around the world. Although in recent years, many of these museums have been selling these remains to private collectors for large sums of money, their discoveries remain documented and undisputed by reasonable scholars without hidden agendas. Take a look at the evidence and decide for yourself if there were giants on the earth in those days. Perhaps the best place to start off with providing evidence of the existence of giant human beings is Crete. Crete was once known in old times as Arcadia. The Greek historian Herodotus had written about another historian, Eustathius, who has said that Arcadia was once called Gigantis, or the land of giants, because of the giants who had formerly lived there. It was also known as the Greek Garden of Eden. This connection between Arcadia, giants, and to the Garden of Eden makes sense because the 4th century Roman author Servius, in his commentary on the Aeneid, says that the Arcadians often reached the age of 300 years. Grotius. And over here, there is a map. Land of the Giants. Italians, Illyrians, Thracians, Asia Minor, Hittite Empire, Arzawa, and Gomi is all the way down here. It's an island. Oh, here's Troy. Okay, that puts it more into perspective. Here is Sparta, Athens, Thebes. Okay, so the land of the giants are likely highlighted in these yellow. Hi, Alabun Sensei, and good morning to you. Thank you for joining stream. Is the giant real? Well, so far, the evidence is pretty interesting to say that giants were real. Though we're not finished. We're not finished with this. Yeah, good morning, Audubon Sensei. Right now, I am reading a portion about evidence of giants. Yeah, I hope the day is finding you well. Several of the world's most influential authors all throughout history verify these accounts of giants, gods, and the island of Crete. People such as Diodorus, Siculus, Pliny, Strabo, Plutarch, and Plato, just to name a few. In addition to these historical accounts by some of the world's most trusted authorities, there is also the science with real-life giant bones that have been found on Crete. In fact, the largest bones that have ever been found were discovered on this very same island, which may prove this was truly the home or the land of giants. These skeletal figures represent just a few giant human remains unearthed and documented in historical records, along with the historical accounts of Goliath, who had 3 brothers as big as he. Og King of Bashan, whose bed was 13 and 5 inches long, and Maximinus Thrax, a Caesar of Rome. Yeah, I'm going to linger on this for a moment. All the way down here at 6 feet, present day men. At 15 feet, Turkey, late 15. Okay, and then 8 feet 6 inches, Maximus Thrax, Caesar of Rome. Goliath is said to have been 10 feet tall. This OG king was 12 feet. Wow, 19. And in France, whoa, this one was discovered in France. This 23 feet tall giant. This also was discovered in France. Nearly complete skeleton. And this biggest one was uncovered. An earthquake was uncovered after an earthquake. Let me try to zoom in on those. Oop, I'm gonna go right below that. Yeah. Okay, now I can read it a bit better. Okay, so going back from the very start, we have the present day men. This one was discovered in Turkey in late 1950. That's a bit hard to read though, even with zoomed in. Okay, and this one was from Rome. This one is just Goliath. It doesn't really say where he was found. Under an overturned oak tree in the canyon of Lucine. Oh, that must have been a really big oak tree to be covering this one. What part is this even from? This isn't in the book. Ah, this is the Complete Book of Enoch, Standard English Version. Yeah, so this is a really complete compiling of everything relating to what is talked about in the Book of Enoch. And right here, this chart is showing supposed evidence of these skeletal remains. I'll go back and read this real quick to you. Let me see. Okay, so evidence of giants. Fossilized remains of giant human skeletons have been found all around the world, ranging in size. Many of them have been recovered with giant weapons, armor, and strange artifacts, dubbed out-of-place artifacts. And over here is where, you know, some of them were found. Obviously, yeah. From what this text is explaining to us. All right. Yeah, but I was just zooming in on these numbers over here and the places where they were found. All right, so that one was found under a tree, and this one was found in France beside a river. I'm gonna make sure my model's out of the way. Okay, it's out of the way. And this other one was found in France, nearly a complete skeleton. And this very last one, which I will show how big it is, uncovered to this size an earthquake in ᶜၤᵉᵈᶦᵗः. Uncovered one more. Uncovered one more? Okay. So yeah, here it is. All big. I'm gonna move my model out of the way. And going down. During the Cretan War from 205 through 200 BC, a massive giant skeleton was discovered on the island. This giant was measured at the length of 33 cubits, which equates to nearly 42 feet. The Roman Lucius Flacius was a notable eyewitness to the gigantic bones, and the Greek writer under Roman Emperor Hadrian, Phlegon of Tralles, also mentioned the discovery of several giants' skeletons. In the included chart of giant fossilized remains findings around the world, features the 36-foot skeleton found by the Carthaginians. In the Geography of Strabo, Volume 1, by Strabo, he writes about these giants that were discovered in city founded by the biblical Corinthians, who used to reside in the modern-day island of Crete. I mean, why is this here? It's not part of the book. It was added by someone in modern times. This is some kind of forgery. I'm disappointed that someone added something like this to the book. I wonder. Yeah, that is what it is included in this complete book. Yeah, perhaps after reading this one, I can cross-reference another translation of the Book of Enoch. To be honest, it is good to cross-reference things. And I myself am mostly just reading this information. Yes, some of it can be very surprising and like, you know, strange. However, going through almost 193 pages is certainly something to gain insight from. You know, here it is, and so here I have been reading it. And after reading this, after having this under my belt of seeing it, I can cross-reference it. And that will be even more so interesting. Somewhere in this neighborhood, in this mountain ᶜ壤ᵈᶦᵗ, which was formerly in the possession of the Briggs, a Thracian nation, some of whom passed over to Asia and were called by another name, Phrygians, after Thessalonica follows the remaining part of the Therman Gulf, extending to Canastium. This is a promontory of a peninsula form and is opposite to Magnesia. Pallene is the name of the peninsula. It has an isthmus 5 stadia in width, with a ditch cut across it. There is a city on the peninsula, formerly called Potidna, founded by the Corinthians, but afterwards it was called Cassandria, from King Cassander, who restored it after it was demolished. It is a circuit of 570 stadia round the peninsula by sea. Here giants were said to have lived, and the region to have been called Felgra. Some consider this to be a mere fable, but others, with greater probability on their side, see implied in it the existence of a barbarous and lawless race of people who once occupied the country, but who were destroyed by Hercules on his return home after the capture of Troy. Here also the Trojan women are said to have committed the destructive art of burning the ships to avoid becoming the slaves of their captors' wives. There are more stories and eyewitness accounts of giant people and bones being found on the island of Crete than anywhere in the world, as this information is current. In addition to the eyewitness accounts and bones that have been found here that help verify this history with some science, there is more scientific evidence in the form of the tools that these giant people had used. Tools such as the massive double-headed axes that have been found in Crete. These axes are said to be from up to 1,700 years before Christ and were also the main religious symbol of the ancient Cretans. They date to the Second Palace and post-Palace periods. The Minoan name for the double axe is labyrinth. Thus the word labyrinth may originally have meant the house of the double axe, an ancient reference to the invention of the double axe, which is attributed to giants. This biblical story may give us a clue as to what eventually had happened to these giants from Crete. The sons of Joseph were authorized to invade the land of the giants, and Og, the king of Bashan, and the last sovereign of the Ashtoreth dynasty, encountered Moses at Edrei, where he fell with his sons and all his people until there was none left alive, and they possessed the land, which also were accounted giants as the Anakims, but the Moabites call them Emims. And the rest of Gilead and the Bashan, being the kingdom of Og, gave unto the half-tribe of Manasseh all the region of Argob with all Bashan, which was called the land of giants. And the coast of Og, king of Bashan, which was of the remnant of the giants that dwelt at the Ashtaroth and at Edrei, all the kingdom of Og and Bashan, which reigned in Ashtaroth and Edrei, who remained of the remnant of the giants, for these did Moses smite and cast them out. Fossilized human footprints have also been discovered in Sweden and in Mexico. Giant skeletons have been discovered throughout the United States, and giant fossilized remains are not solely exclusive to the lands of Crete, but rather worldwide. Photos of giants from recent times are all a part of important natural history. An article from Strand magazine, December 1895, reprinted in Traces of the Elder Faiths of Ireland by W.G. Wood Martin, mentions this fossilized giant discovered during mining operations in County Antrim, Ireland. Preeminent among the most extraordinary articles ever held by a railway company is the fossilized Irish giant, which is at this moment lying at the London and North Western Railway Company's Broad Street Goods Depot, and a photograph of which is reproduced here. This monstrous figure is reputed to have been dug up by a Mr. Dyer whilst prospecting for ore in County Antrim. The principal measurements are entire length, 12 feet 2 inches girth of chest, 6 feet 6 inches and length of arms, 4 feet 6 inches. There are 6 toes on the right foot. The gross weight is 2 tons, so that it took half a dozen men and a powerful crane to place this article of lost property in position for the Strand magazine photographer to do her work. The below is the picture of the giant published in Strand magazine, 1895. Whoa. You know, it would have offered a bit more comparison if they had somebody stand next to it. Wow. It almost feels a little strange to be looking at it. Okay, yeah. Very big. Schmal learning about big things. Near Crittenden, Arizona, in 1891, workmen evacuating for a commercial building came upon a huge stone sarcophagus 8 feet below the surface. The contractor called in expert help, and the sarcophagus was opened to reveal a granite mummy case which had once held the body of a human being more than 12 feet tall. A human with 6 toes, according to the carving of the case. But the body had been buried so many thousand of years that it had long since turned to dust. Just another silent witness to the truth of Genesis, which tells us that there were giants on the earth in those days. The excavation of over a dozen skeletons, 8 to 12 feet tall, around the world, shocked archaeologists. If you have already read through the Book of Giants, then you may understand why on so many Sumerian artifacts that we find depictions of giant humans. Being served by lesser humans in stature, as the Book of Enoch testifies, as other texts of the same body of knowledge tell us, some men worshipped these giants, only to have them eventually turn on them. The associated text in the Book of Giants that pertains to this particular Sumerian tablet is the following. They took and imprisoned all the helpers that were in the heavens, and the angels themselves descended from the heaven to the earth. And when the 200 demons saw those angels, they were much afraid and worried. They assumed the shape of men and hid themselves. Thereupon the angels forcibly removed the men from the demons, laid them aside, and put watchers over them. The giants were sons with each other in bodily union, with each other's self, and the that had been born to them. They forcibly removed them from the demons, and they led one half of them eastwards, and the other half westwards, and on the skirts of 4 huge mountains, toward the foot of the ᶜᵈᵈᵦᵗः, into 32 towns, which the living Spirit had prepared for them in the beginning. And one calls that place ᶜ뵌ᵈᵦᵗः. And those men are or were in the first arts and crafts, and they made the angels, and to the demons they went to fight. And those 200 demons fought a hard battle with the 4 angels, until the angels used fire, naphtha, and brimstone. Book of Giants, Sogdian manuscript. Of such cities mentioned in the Book of Giants, other authorities on the antiquities of history make note. Cristoforo was an Italian monk, traveler, and a pioneer in promoting first-hand knowledge of Greece and its antiquities, who had written about a Cretan city named Sardanapalus that was formerly inhabited by giants, and where modern eparchia of Setia derived its name. The San Diego giant. The mummy remains of a giant were unearthed in a cave near San Diego, California. It was discovered by a party of prospectors and was displayed at the Atlantic Exposition while a number of Smithsonian scientists were there. They asked permission to examine it, and when consent was given, applied their tapes and found that it measured 8 feet 4 inches from crown to heel. The body lied rest in a 10-foot coffin. The exhibitor agreed to sell it for $500 to the Smithsonian, of which sold it in more recent days to an unknown private collector. The following photo is the San Diego giant. Oh my goodness, we get to see another one? Oh my goodness. This one's next to some average sized people, as we can see. Oh goodness. In terms of the lifespans of the giants, we find that it was appointed to them 500 years to live. And to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against the jerks and the reprobites, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of the watchers from amongst men. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have, and no request, so that they make thee shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf. For they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. Notice how that is specific to a definite degree. Well, it would seem that their days were numbered as a curse, and that perhaps they couldn't die until 500 years had been allotted to them. Allocated. Keep in mind that God was not pleased at all with that the fallen angels had done, and was using this as a testament against them for breaking his laws. They wanted their giant sons to have the eternal life like they had, but God denied their plea for this. Although the exact contents of the petition the fallen angels had Enoch delivered to God is not known, this verse appears to be a logical response to one of the things the fallen must have included in it regarding their son's length of life. Furthermore, in regards to their hybrid status, half man, half angel, of existence, we are encountered with the terms and conditions of their afterlife, as the Book of the Words of Righteousness tells us. And now the giants who are produced from the spirits and flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and on the earth shall be their dwelling. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies because they are born from men, and from the watchers is their beginning and primal origin. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. And here's another verse from Enoch. And the spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble. They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst, and cause offenses. Not having souls, once the giants had died, they became roaming spirits of the earth, being able to inhabit the bodies of men and women, animals, and other forms. Only when reading through the Testament of Solomon do we find evidence of these evil spirits residing on earth until the final judgment. And there came before my face another enslaved spirit, having obscurely the form of a man with gleaming eyes, and bearing in his hand a blade. And I asked, Who art thou? But he answered, I am a lascivious spirit, engendered of a giant man, who died in the massacre in the time of the giants. I said to him, Tell me what thou art employed upon earth, and where thou hast thy dwelling. Closing notes and my own personal observations. Okay, so these are the personal observations of probably Jay Winter. Being a former evolutionist, finding about OO parts and fossilized giant human beings around the world compelled me to look for answers outside the modern scientific religion and into the accounts of historians, scribes, and the body of knowledge of the divine. The earth and its artifacts seem to testify to its own past, so long as we pay attention to the ancient reporters who so diligently made the happenings of ancient times known to us through the preservation of their observations. The more one goes looking for evidence pertaining to giants, the more one finds. The bulk of information pertaining to these giants seems to be clustered on the body of biblical knowledge, of which no other codex contains more references or information about. This mystery itself seems best solved by poring over the evidence with diligent study performed by reading with not the eyes, but rather the heart. And here we come to Testament of Solomon. Now this is where I will stop for today. In fact, seeing this name, I'm going to put up a different song next time. There's a really good song from East called, I think Temple of Solomon. It's a really good song, and I want you all to hear it. Okay, but for now, this is where I will stop. That was very fascinating information about giants. Now, it's up to you whether or not you want to believe it. That's what Mr. J. Winter was saying. When are you posting your schedule for the week? I will post my schedule as early as a few hours from now or tomorrow. You know, I want to push myself a bit, so I think I'm going to work on my stream schedule after finishing stream. It doesn't take me long, and it's really fun to do. So once I have that out, I will post it on my community page for YouTube and also my X account. I also post my stream schedule on TikTok. Just FYI. Yeah, so thank you to anybody who stopped by today during my reading. I mostly use these reading sessions to spread something interesting that I am personally interested in, and also to help find my voice for streaming. Thanks for the stream. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Adelbun. Bye-bye. Thank you for stopping by. Have a great rest of your day. So much reading. Sometimes it's very surprising what is being read. Though I think I'm doing an alright part of reading it through and not interjecting too much. At the end, we can talk about it and whatnot. And I found that what Adelbun Sensei was talking about was interesting too. So yes, after I finish this, I probably will cross-reference it. And until then, I will pick up where I left off. So, please have a good night. And once more, thank you again. Please take care of yourself. Bye-bye.